Hey guys, Killix here, multi-rank 1 in PvP and Mythic Plus and the #1 Virgin Collector in North America. Today I'm breaking down a Deathless Tazavesh hard mode run in the War Within Season 3. This is going to be a full pull-by-pull guide with commentary, mechanics, route, and tips to make your run as smooth as possible. So first off, why is attempting Tazavesh hard mode Deathless every week so important? Because this is the only guaranteed weekly source of Mythic track loot aside from your dungeon vault in Season 3. Clearing it Deathless rewards every player in the group with a random Mythic track item from the Tazavesh loot pool from any boss, based off your specialization at the time. That's the highest dungeon item level available this tier. In many cases, it's gear you'll be using the entire expansion. You get a guaranteed Mythic gear on a successful one-shot, no death run rewards, right? So each player will get a Mythic track item from the bonus chest at the end. You also get extra loot. Every boss still drops heroic track gear, so you're still stacking rewards even if you don't land a Deathless run if you still need heroic track gear. And you also get Great Vault progress, so completing Tazavesh hard mode, whether Deathless or not, counts as a +10 dungeon for the Mythic Vault slot, giving you another chance at high-end gear the following week. At the start of the week, all players entering Tazavesh get the Street Smart buff. This is the challenge. If anyone dies, the buff is removed for the whole party, and you lose the bonus chest for that week. There are no retries, it has to be your first attempt. You can't swap in fresh characters at the end. If even one person is missing the buff, the chest will not spawn, even if everyone else does not die. If you manage a flawless run, you'll earn the feat of strength called Flawless Transaction. While simply completing a hard mode at all, even with deaths, will award you with the hard mode Tazavesh Field Market feat of strength. Both achievements are limited to the War Within Season 3, so collectors will want to secure them before the season ends for sure. Tazavesh has 8 different bosses and plenty of dangerous trash, so surviving a Deathless run is tough early on, but remember, it only gets easier as the tier progresses. I did this at about 702 eye level, so it was kind of a little bit difficult, but the difference between 700 eye level and 720 eye level is absolutely massive. So if it feels impossible now, revisit it in a few weeks with more gear. And don't forget, bosses still drop heroic track gear individually. Make sure you swap your loot spec per boss to maximize your chances at the items that matter most for your class. Some of these will remain best in slot for a very long time this season, including trinkets like Codex of the First Technique for tank, and things like that. Before we even start the Tazavesh hard mode, let's talk about the add-ons and WeakAuras that will make this run drastically easier. I recommend running big wigs, little wigs, and of course WeakAuras. I'll have all of these linked down in the description for you guys. There are also WeakAuras tailored for dungeon specifics this tier that help track important abilities, and one of my favorites is called Raid Ability Timeline. This takes your bigwigs timers and organizes them into a really clean drop-down countdown, so instead of just staring at timers, you get a clear visual order of what's coming next. For bigwigs, I recommend typing /BW, go to dungeon bosses, and then select Tazavesh. And I recommend going through each boss and trash mob mechanic one by one, reading them, learning what they do, and from here on you can customize alerts. So for example, on the first boss, Zo'phex, under interrogation, you can click the arrows. You're going to want to emphasize this and count down. What this is going to do is when this mechanic happens, it's going to play a warning sound when it starts, and it will also verbally count down from 5 before the mechanic even happens. This kind of prep is huge for your healers in your group. Another example is impound contraband that overlaps with certain mechanics. You're going to want to emphasize this and count it down. That way you know preemptively 5 seconds before this mechanic happens, hey, when this counts down in 5 seconds, 2 random players are going to take damage in my group. I should be ready for that. I should preemptively pop a defensive here if it overlaps with another certain AoE. Once you zone in, you'll see an NPC called Al-Dalil near the entrance at the stairs. All 5 party members need to speak to him to start hard mode. As soon as one person speaks to him and assures to start, a 2-minute timer will begin. If everyone clicks him, the RP sequence starts a little faster and the dungeon begins. There's no rush here, this is not a speedrun, so for hard mode, Deathless, play as safely as you possibly can. The first pull is going to be against a mini-boss called Gate Warden Zomaz. It comes with 2 main mechanics. One is called Radiant Pulse, which is a raid-wide AoE that ticks every second for 3 seconds. The first one is going to go out around 15 seconds into the pool, then every 25 seconds after that. So healers, make sure you preemptively ramp for this and you're ready for this. The Tank Buster is a heavy hit on the tank. You can mitigate or cool down appropriately, although this does not hit very hard. Alongside him are also going to be 4 custom security mobs. These throw out a mechanic called distribution grenades, which leave swirls on the ground like a little big circle. If you step into one of these at the current gear level, you're most likely going to get one shot, so dodging these is essential. You don't want to brick on your first pull. If you get through the first pull clean, you're off to a good start. Remember, the buff drops if even one person dies, so respect every mechanic, even on trash. Play safely and just play smartly, guys. As you push up the stairs, this is where the real danger begins in the dungeon. Tons of trash packs stacked with nasty mechanics. You're going to have the custom security. These are going to keep throwing out random distribution grenades. The little swirlies on the ground, the big circles that you have to dodge. These will most likely one-shot you if you step into them at your gear level. Then you're going to have the interrogation specialist. The interrogation specialists are going to target a random party member with a 16-second slow that also takes damage every 2 seconds. This should always be cleansed or immune with a freedom ability. You're also going to have the support officers, which are going to randomly cast a hyperlight bolt on random players. Assign interrupts for these. They'll also throw up a hard light barrier. This can be purged or spell stolen to stop the damage buff and the absorb. Not to mention the armored overseer. These are basically the big monsters inside the pools. They're going to randomly spawn these mechanic called beam slicers that rotate in place. Getting clipped by these is basically an instant kill. Keep an eye on your feet and rotate around them safely. Take this section one pull at a time. These mobs synergize, they slow, they AoE, they randomly cast random bolts on certain party members, and all of these stacking together can easily cause a random wipe or a random one-shot kill, especially if you get overwhelmed in these pulls. Once you've cleared all the trash inside the room, you're going to have 2 options. If you have a rogue, hunter, or mage in your group, they can do the reset trick. They can body pull the boss, vanish an invis, and reset it. This will cause the boss to respawn without the Portal Manso mini-boss. Makes the fight drastically easier, but it can be buggy. I don't really recommend it doing it in a deathless run, but if you guys do it, make sure every single person is outside of this room when that person does it. As if anybody is in this room, they will automatically get aggro from the boss and it won't reset properly. The second option is to just kill the boss normally. You're going to want to focus down the mini-boss here, lust on pull, and kill that mini-boss as soon as you possibly can. The mini-boss named Zohan is going to have 3 different notable mechanics. One is going to be called Rift Blast, which is going to send out random energy lines across the room. You're going to want to dodge these at all costs. He's also going to do a Radiant Pulse group-wide AoE, ticking damage AoE every couple of seconds. This is going to last for 3 seconds and do damage every 1 second. You're going to have the group-wide slow as well, which is the occasional slow on your entire party by 40% for 16 seconds. It should be cleansed or freedomed ASAP. At the same time that all of this mini-boss mechanics are happening, the main boss mechanics are happening as well. When it comes to Zo'phex himself, you're going to want to be near him, and you're going to want to have him tanked. Your tank is going to want him to be in a centralized position. That way people can be very close to him and not get clipped by the frontal during these crazy hectic mechanics that are happening at the same time. He's going to do a frontal cone called Charge Slash. This is absolutely lethal and you need to dodge it at all times. On top of this, his main mechanic is going to be called Interrogation. He'll fixate a random person and walk towards them slowly and cage them. You're going to want to destroy this cage as soon as possible before the boss gets anywhere near him. At the same time that he's casting Interrogate, you cannot be in front of the boss, otherwise you will most likely die. He's also going to randomly throw out weapons that spin around the room slowly every now and then. The weapon tosses, you need to dodge them, don't be in them. The other most important mechanic is going to be Impound Contraband. This is going to target 2 random players, steal their weapons, and deal heavy damage to those 2 random players. Those players that get targeted by this need to run and pick up their weapons ASAP. The scariest part of this fight, guys, is just the overlap when the impound contraband happens right after interrogation or radiant pulse. When you break someone out of the interrogation cage, it triggers an AoE damage. And if impound follows instantly, it can overwhelm your healer. Just be ready to pop defensives here specifically. This is where most groups wipe on this boss and lose their deathless attempts, just because they're not ready for that overlap. Or this boss and you've beaten one of the hardest checks of the run. The next part, you're going to have 2 options. You can either go left or you can either go right. I recommend going left because it's far less monsters. So left side is mostly mini bosses, right side is mostly trash, but the right side has a lot more trash and it has more one-shot mechanics. When you pull Tracker Zo'far, the mini boss, it's going to do a circle around him and every single person needs to be stacked inside the circle, and he's going to randomly throw out a beam slicer, as well as rooting the tank. You're going to want to freedom the tank or cleanse the tank every time he gets rooted. I recommend pulling the boss downstairs on flat ground and moving as a group, stacking as a group, baiting the beam slicers, and then moving out of them in the direction that the tank is going. Right? The trick here is to just stay together, bait the beams, and dodge them. If you get hit by these beams, you'll get a debuff that will do damage to you. Your healer needs to spam heal you. That beam will not randomly one-shot you. It'll just put a debuff on you and make you take heavy amounts of damage. The next 2 pulls are going to be the hounds. Be careful not to go too far ahead and start the RP for the dragon, the dinosaur. You do not want to start that dinosaur RP. You want to fight it by itself. You're going to have to kick both of these monsters occasionally and dodge the frontal. The frontal is going to basically one-shot you here, and these 2 monsters have to die at around the same time, otherwise they will reincarnate. At the same time, guys, you need to be close to these monsters and try to bait the breaths in the same direction. That way you can all dodge in the same direction. The next mob is going to be the enraged Direhorn. I recommend just tanking this frontal wherever it goes on this charge. Don't try to cheese it. Don't try to like bait it on random pillars. It's not going to one-shot you. Just take the damage and kill the boss. He's also occasionally going to do a mechanic called Wild Thrash around every 25 seconds. Just have your healer heal through this. It's pretty easy. So when he does Frenzy Charge on a random person, just move out of... If it's not on you, move out the direction where he's charging and just heal that person. The next pull is arguably one of the scariest pulls in the dungeon. You're going to have 4 Frenzied Nightclaw cats. Everyone needs to be stacked in melee range here. These bleeds do not do AoE damage. They just jump on one person and put a bleed on them. Just make sure you're spam healing those people with the debuffs. You can also try to stun these mobs to offset the bleeds so the same person can't get jumped. The next mobs are going to be the Sparkcasters with the Peacekeepers. Anybody that is out in range will be charged by the Peacekeepers and take a mild amount of damage, but if everyone is stacked on top of the Peacekeeper, he won't charge. The casters are just going to randomly cast on players. Just kick this, and they'll have a random cast on the tank that will put a debuff on him. You can just cleanse this or kick it. On top of the charges, the Peacekeepers will randomly put down these domes and take less damage. You'll want to stun these, interrupt these, slow these. Not slow these, but CC them rather. The next pull here, you can opt to skip it or kill it. We killed it because it's a patrolling pat and we don't want to deal with it later. We're going to deal with the same thing. The Peacekeepers, the random charges, the random cast, the random Felix fields. On top of this, the Enforcer is going to randomly do a AoE damage to the group. Just make sure you heal that. And it's going to randomly occasionally knock back the tank. Just make sure you don't get knocked into those fences. If you get hit by those fences, you will most likely die unless you're a tank. So every now and then, about every 15 seconds, the tank would randomly get power kicked, knocked out of range of the mob. Just make sure you do not get knocked into these shields. The minute boss himself is going to throw down these mines. They need to be dodged at all costs. You will die if you get hit by these mines. So what we do here is we pull the mini boss on top of the stairs, bait the first set of mines, Then we go downstairs and kite him along the path of where we came. The mini boss himself has a couple more mechanics. He's going to randomly spawn mines. You dodge them, dodge defense as well. And then he's going to do a mechanic called Lethal Force. He's going to link 2 players, and those 2 players are going to be forced to run towards each other. If you run towards each other, you will take a massive amount of damage. Now you can either just keep running away from each other, or you can press a major defensive ability and run into each other and break the tether. The scary part about this is getting linked while there's mines up and accidentally dragging your partner through a mine. That's what's going to get you guys killed here. Other than that, just dodge mines, stay away from the person that you're linked with, and kill the boss. You're going to want a Bloodlust on pull here. Phase 1 is going to have Owl Crooks. He's going to give you a debuff called Gluttony. This is going to pulse AoE around you. Stay away from others while you have this. On top of this, he'll occasionally grip you in with a mechanic called Grip of the Hunger. This is going to pull everyone in. Just dodge the large circles after. The Falling Orbs mechanic is going to create 2 waves that cover the entire room. Stand in the second wave zones first. Then when the first zone explodes, move in. In phase 2, Aclity will jump down. He's going to apply 2 dispellable dots, cleanse melee first, then range. He's also going to occasionally do a mechanic called Venting Protocol. This is going to fill the room with random orbs. This is going to tie in with the debuff called Gluttony from the first boss. The person that has Gluttony will want to run through all of these orbs, and they'll gain a damage stacking buff. The person that does not have Gluttony, stay away from these orbs. They do a ton of damage. Phase 3, Venza Goldfuse is going to jump down. She's going to have 2 mechanics. She's going to do a Chains of Damnation. You're going to want a Freedom or Immune this, or a DPS swap to it and kill it ASAP if you do not have a Freedom or Immune for it. She'll occasionally also do a Whirling Annihilation mechanic that's going to pull everyone in. Use Speed Boost while dodging orbs. This can be immune, but don't immune it if you're holding Gluttony stacks, as you'll want to keep doing more and more damage with it. Stay spread, handle overlaps, and kill the bosses one by one ASAP. If the chain is on the tank, I recommend not freedoming them and just killing it passively so you have freedom for the next person that gets a chain. Just make sure you dodge orbs at all costs, kill the boss. And the person with Gluttony, make sure you're soaking as many orbs as you possibly can to clean up the room a bit. When it comes to the mailroom trash, we're just going to pull it one by one here, and we're going to have a couple of different mechanics. The workers are just going to be tanked and killed, and then there's going to be these sorters running around trying to open these cages. You just want to CC them to stop the cages from opening. If the cages do open, a chicken will spawn and you'll have to tank it and kill it. This chicken will occasionally stun random players and do damage to them. Just heal through it and kill them. The male elementals will spam cast an ability called Junk Mail on a random person. Just heal them through this. And they'll also have a kickable cast that should be kicked. Other than that, just kill this area one by one. And you're going to want to have Bloodlust for this next boss. So just after this area, after you clear this trash, we're going to do the mini event. When it comes to the next area, you're going to want to take note of a couple of different monsters and pull them before you even start to RP. The Bizarre Overseers are these massive mini boss type NPCs that you're going to pull and kill them before you even start the RP here. They're going to occasionally target 3 people that will get a giant circle. Spread out, don't overlap these circles, and heal through the AoE damage. On top of the Tank Buster. That's about all this mob does. Just stay spread out, kill it before you start the RP. When it comes to the actual RP itself, you're going to want to have the tank do it and only have one person do it. There's currently a bug right now where if one more person tries to do it, 2 or more, it'll just randomly stop the RP and it'll break it and you won't be able to complete the run. So just make sure the tank does it only. Anytime a quest item is turned in, monsters will spawn around the quest item. So do not be near the tank. If you are melee, wait for the mobs to spawn, have your tank pick up the mobs, tank them, and then go in DPS. So here, I stay back, the tank turns in the item, and the mob spawn. The boss, the monsters will occasionally slow the tank. You'll want to freedom him. At certain pools in this area, overseers will spawn. So you'll want to stay spread out and preemptively heal the people that are about to take AoE damage and keep your tank cleansed. That's really about it. The little mini mobs, the strong garms are going to slow your tank. Just make sure you occasionally cleanse your tank. Once you have your password, make sure whoever has the password goes and turns it in. Keep in mind, if you press the wrong password, you automatically die and you break the whole run. As far as assigning the instruments, your healer always gets the drums, and then you split up every other instrument depending on your spec and role in your group or whatever everyone is comfortable with. Just make sure your healer always gets the drums. Being inside the drums makes you immune to the rotten green circles. So if you ever want to just payphone on a healer and not dodge the circles, just stay in the drums the entire time. This first encounter has been nerfed by Blizzard. In hard mode, you're going to get a wave of mini bosses. The mini bosses are going to be called Veratian, which is going to be the first one. She's going to charge a random player and drop a big pinkish circle. Dodge this or you will die. The second mini boss is going to be Hips, the most important mini boss in here. He's going to cast an ability called Drumroll. It's going to do a steady group AoE damage. Healers, you need to prep for this and heal through this. This is the hardest part of this fight. The third mini boss is going to be called Vilt. He's going to do a huge frontal cone. You want to tank him in the middle of the room and stay close to him so you can dodge fast. The further you are, the harder it is to dodge because the cone is wider. The fourth and final mini boss is going to be a Veil. He's going to cast a song ability, Discordant Song. You're going to need to kick this. Do not let this go off at any point. And he's also going to cast another cast called Note. Kick this at all costs. There's 2 kicks here. All the while, you're still dodging rotten food circles on the ground this entire encounter. The boss itself is going to spawn once the trash is done. It's no more 3 waves of mobs, it's 2 waves of mobs now. It's the first set of mobs and then the boss. Once the trash is done and you do the set of instruments, the boss is going to show up. You're going to still be dodging rotten foods on the ground, and you're going to occasionally kick the boss. Every now and then the boss will pull every single person into the middle and start casting a suppression spark. This is going to pull everyone in and drop circles on each player. Spread out, use the defensives, and survive the burst when these expire. The boss will do a random frontal called Crowd Control. This needs to be dodged at all costs or you will die. On top of this, he's going to do a Tank Buster, which doesn't do that much damage. And he's going to do a Menacing Shout that needs to be kicked. The final mechanic and the most important one is going to be Final Warning. The boss is going to gain a massive absorb shield and start casting a very long cast. Break the shield quickly and interrupt the boss or it's a wipe. You can also milk this cast by not kicking after you break the shield if you still have time. Outside of that, it's all about dodging, spreading, and handling the absorb quickly. The mini boss wave is the real check here. One of the hardest bosses in this entire dungeon is going to be the Postmaster. On hard mode, you're going to get a new set of mechanics when you pick up the briefcases. You're basically permanently rooted and slowed, so you cannot move when you pick up a briefcase. When the hazardous materials spawn, I recommend just soaking 1 and having your healer cleanse 1 as well. Do not have more than 2 stacks going into this fan mail AoE. Boss will occasionally put a bomb called Money Order on a random person that needs to be soaked by your entire group. This splits damage across your entire group. Keep in mind that can be immune now, and it'll instantly remove the debuff. When the cases come out, the suitcases, I recommend having your healer stand near and catching the suitcases that people throw them. Just make sure you don't throw more than 1 at a time, because you can only catch 1. So if you throw 2, you could potentially wipe. Always have the healer stay close to the open vents and throw the cases that are being thrown. You can also freedom the route as well. So make sure if you have a paladin, you're freedoming a person that's running around and picking up the suitcases. Other than that, just heal through the fan mail, immune the money orders if you can, otherwise stack up and soak them. So Asmi is arguably the hardest boss in here because it is a little bit mechanically different and more challenging than the other bosses. First off, you're going to split the room into 4 quadrants and you're going to put a mark on each quadrant. You're going to assign a kick to every person in your party based off your quadrant. So your tank and your DPS if they have kicks. When you pull this boss, you're going to tank it on X. and you're gonna, preferably you're gonna have lust for this fight, and you're gonna lust on pull, and you're gonna do as much damage as you possibly can. The first mechanic is gonna be called Phase Slash, which is gonna put a debuff on 3 players in your party and constantly do ticking bleed damage to them. Make sure your healer heals these people. The second mechanic is gonna be called Shuri. He's gonna throw a random circle in a random part of the room that you're gonna need to dodge. The way you're gonna dodge is you're gonna take these shapes and it's gonna teleport you to the appropriate shape. If you take circle, it's gonna teleport you to circle. If you take square, it's gonna teleport you to square. Keep in mind, Shuri is gonna keep happening non-stop, and Phase Slash is gonna keep happening non-stop as well, so your healer needs to heal. Pay close attention to where the Shuri is being thrown. That way you can dodge effectively while still being in line of sight of your healer. Note that these walls will prevent anyone healing to heal the person across the other side of the wall, right? Every now and then the boss will teleport and cast 3 times. The boss needs to be kicked 3 times. Every time you kick the boss, he will teleport to a random part of the room, potentially the same part of the room that he was in before. This fight can be quite difficult because you have a lot of things going on and a lot of different mechanics, and it's going to be a lot easier if you have one person calling out which shapes to take and when. So if you have your tank, pay note and close attention to which shape is safe and say, hey, take triangle now, or we're going to be taking triangle soon, take triangle now. It'll make the fight drastically easier. But right there, we need to take circle late because the Shuri is going to cross. Okay, so in about 2 seconds, we'll take circle. I'm going to go take it now. If you get hit by this Shuri wave, you're not going to die instantly, but you're going to take a massive amount of damage over time from a debuff. Make sure if you do get hit by this, you press every defensive to live it. As far as the triple technique, this is where splitting your party members into different quadrants comes in play. You're going to have your assigned players go into their quadrants and kick ASAP. Do not milk this cast, just kick instantly. Note that the boss can spawn in the same quadrant back to back. So make sure you're ready to take the shapes and kick the boss ASAP. In this next area, we're going to go pull by pull, and we're not going to pull too many mobs. The Fishmancers are going to do a random circle on the ground that you're just going to have to dodge. And the Scalebinders are going to randomly spawn a fish stick that you're going to have to kill. Otherwise, it's going to regularly pulse AoE healing to any Murlocs around them. Note that you should do 1 pull at a time here, don't overload. The Giant is going to throw a random boulder that needs to be dodged at all costs. And he's going to occasionally do an AoE mechanic on the group that is going to ramp in damage. So the second cast is going to be stronger than the first cast. The third cast is going to be stronger than the second cast. You need to burn down this mob as soon as you possibly can before the damage gets too great and you just die. The last mob we're going to talk about in here for the Murlocs is the Shell Crusher. These mobs are going to cast a kickable spell that empowers any Murlocs near them. So you need to kick these. On top of this, when the mobs get very low health, they're going to start running away. Make sure you're killing the straggling mobs that run away so it doesn't accidentally chain pull other mobs in the dungeon. The Stormforged Guardians, right before the Hylbrande boss, are going to do 2 mechanics. They're going to do a giant circle that you have to dodge and a giant frontal that should be faced away from the group, preferably into a wall. When it comes to this boss, you're going to want to have Bloodlust. I don't think we ended up Bloodlusting here. This boss can actually be quite difficult, and it's a little bit scary if you don't do it properly. First off, you're going to deal with a new add. This add needs to be kicked, or somebody will die if this cast goes off. So put the add on focus and spam kick it. The second mechanic is going to be Purged by Fire. Random person will get targeted right here like I did. They will get a yellow beam on them. This yellow beam needs to be kited away. Do not get hit by this. It will 2-shot you. The second set of adds are going to be the Purifiers. These need to die before the boss gets full energy. He starts casting. When the sanitizing cycle starts, you're going to pick up an orb. There's 4 orbs. And you're going to want to put it into one of the consoles. Now the thing here, the person that does the console needs to either type or verbally announce in Discord which colors are where. On hard mode, you will not be able to see the console. So the person has to be verbal. On top of this, 3 random persons inside the group will get a random mechanic called Purifying Burst. This will do a mild amount of damage to 3 people in your party. Make sure you preemptively prep for this. The new adds are spawning. We're going to put the breaker on focus. We're going to kick it when it casts, Lightning Nova. And we're going to slowly kill all the other mobs. Main priority here, guys, is the breaker ad. You want to kick it and kill it. Yeah, I get the beam here. I take it away from the party. Preemptively move for that beam mechanic, because if you stand still and you start moving when you get it, it could actually kill you sometimes because it has delayed reaction. So when the boss here is going to gain 100% energy, he's going to run to the middle of the room. We're going to kill these mobs. We're dodging at the same time. The purifiers also have a kick. It's not that important to kick it. It's not going to kill you, but you still want to try to stop them. Sanitizing cycle is going to happen. We're going to pick up an orb, and our tank is going to verbally announce which orb is going where. We're going to put it in. That's the entire fight. As soon as you zone out of the boss, you're going to be presented to a new island. You're going to have 2 pulls here. Just split them up. Don't pull everything at once. Just take it slow. The Tide Sages are going to need to be kicked. They're going to randomly cast bolts on people. Just kick them as well as you can. And then you're going to have to randomly dodge these giant blue circles. Do not get hit by these. When you're running down over here, do not jump all the way. We've actually seen people die to fall damage and breaking their run this way, which is actually hilarious. We're going to take this area pull by pull. Same thing. We're just going to kick the mobs, tank the officers, attack the deckhands, dodge the giant blue circles, pick the bolts, just heal people. Capn Hooktail is going to be arguably the hardest boss in here. Note for this boss, you can put down these training dummies because you're outdoors, and you can kind of cheese the boss to get funnel. So if you're playing with funnel classes, you can put down these target dummies during the fight, and it'll drastically increase the damage that your DPS are doing. When the boss is pulled, you're going to want to be within the same area. The boss is going to do a frontal called Infinite Breath. The tank needs to aim these at any spawning adds during the boss. Kill them. Note that at the same time that this is happening, there will be another mechanic called Anchor Shot that will drag a person to the ocean and will also drop these fire puddles on the ground randomly on a person's head. Every single ad needs to be hit by an Infinite Breath twice in order to get rid of them. At the same time, you're going to get 2 dispellable mechanics called Time Bombs. This is going to do ticking damage to those people and give them a haste buff. In hard mode, I would just recommend cleansing this instantly, as it does ticking increased damage, and at a certain point you will get overwhelmed and you won't really want to deal with that damage. Even though the buff actually helps you do more damage, it creates too much damage to your group, so it should be cleansed instantly. Time bombs come here, cleanse the warlock, and heal everyone. As Maz is getting increase of the stacks, taking more and more damage, so I need to cleanse him as soon as possible. Note that when you cleanse a time bomb, it's going to do increased party-wide damage, so make sure your healer is ready for that. You want to keep kiting within the same direction, dodging fire circles, cleansing the debuffs, not being pulled into bombs or fire with shots, and dodging these adds. The brutes are going to fixate on random people in your party and should be kited at all costs. These mobs will absolutely truck you, so do not tank them. In the final section of the dungeon, you're going to deal with some notable mobs called a domed Starseers. This is going to do a random drifting star frontal that needs to be dodged or it'll one-shot you. And occasionally it'll spawn a wandering pulsar star. This does increasing raid-wide damage the longer it's up. It needs to be killed as soon as it's up. In the second section, we're going to deal with two mobs, Focus Ritualists, which have a random Hyperlight Bolt that's casted on a random party member. Just kick this or stop this. And then occasionally they will cast an ability called Unstable Rift. This needs to be kicked at all costs or you will wipe. So in the pool where you're dealing with two of them, make sure you're stopping the bolts and kicking the actual rift itself. Once you've killed all of the trash and you're ready for the boss, make sure you have Lust. We're going to Lust in the second phase, not the first phase. You're going to pull the boss in this corner right here, and he's going to spawn two assassins. These assassins are going to cast after about 6 seconds. They're going to randomly teleport out of range and start casting. You want to kick them as soon as they cast. If that cast goes off, you will most likely die. On top of this, a collapsing star will spawn every 1 minute, about 20-30 seconds into the pull. When you soak this, it'll do AoE damage to your group and put a little dot on your group. The person that soaks that mechanic will get a stacking debuff. So your DPS should only be soaking 1 orb and your tank should be soaking 2. Ideally, you want your healer to soak the first, your tank the second, and the third, then the fourth, you have a random DPS soak it. Keep in mind, if you soak more than 1 stack, you're going to also take increasing damage from the AoE itself when somebody else soaks. That's why it's extremely important to only soak once as a DPS or a healer and twice as a tank. When the boss gets to 40% health, he'll phase. Go to full health and 5 stars will spawn. You'll get a line that goes through every single person. This line needs to be kited through a star. If you miss a star, you'll have another chance, but you'll get a stacking debuff that makes you take more and more damage. On top of this, as soon as this phase starts, you'll throw a random mechanic at these stars that explode the stars and shoot random stars in every single direction. These need to be dodged at all costs or you will most likely die. If you get hit by 2 of these, it's almost sudden death. The first collapsing star is going to overlap with the other stars exploding like it did right there. You do not want to do what I just did and soak 2 stacks, because as you can see I'm taking massive amounts of damage here from the ticking damage as well. I need it, like I actually almost die here because of that. So you want to have your healer soak 1, your tank soak 2, then your final DPS soak 1. Keep dodging the stars that are exploding and keep doing the collapsing stars. For the collapsing stars, you do not have to pop the last one. You can just let it self-expire by itself. But I still recommend popping every single one, just to make sure there's no random burst of damage. Do the stars properly, dodge the energy fragmentations, do the collapsing star properly, and dodge the Hyperlight Nova in melee. That'll be an easy last boss. It'll give you the Flawless Transaction, Feat of Strength. And that wraps up the full Tazavesh hard mode Deathless walkthrough. If you've made it this far, you now know every pull, every boss, and all the tricks to secure that guaranteed mythic track loot, the Flawless Transaction achievement. Remember, this run only gets easier as the season progresses and everyone gears up, so even if you struggle now, keep at it. The difference between early gearing and late gearing is absolutely massive. If this guide helped you out, do me a favor, drop me a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which boss or which trash pack has been the hardest for you to master. Got full guides for other dungeons coming up as well, so make sure to stick around for those. If you want to watch these runs live or ask me questions in real time, come hang out at twitch.tv/KillaKTV. I'm always grinding keys, raids, and collector content with the community. This is Killax, thanks for watching, and good luck on your Deathless clears, and I'll see you in the next one.